All right, so here we're looking at our enterprise overview. This is hosted in our FactoryTalk Vantage Point portal. So the portal itself is running within Internet Explorer. Over on the left side, we have our logical model where we have some reports up at the top level here, and then we also have instances of our plants set up and some equipment below those instances. So within this enterprise overview report itself, the main section that we're showing here on the map is our plant locations. For this demo, we have a plant located in Milwaukee and also a demo plant out. In this report, that the Milwaukee plant is showing red, and its corresponding asset utilization number is kind of low. So we're going to click on the Milwaukee plant over here on the map and drill down into some more detail about that plant. All right, so here we're looking at our device status report. This is showing all of the devices within our Milwaukee plant. At the top of this report, we have 5 dial indicators. The first dial indicator on the left shows us how many of our devices within the plant currently have a major fault. The minor fault indicator shows us how many devices have a minor fault. The offline indicator shows us how many devices have not communicated with us recently, and so we consider them offline. And finally, the last 2 indicators on the right pertain only to our controllers within this plant. So the remote mode indicator shows us how many controllers have their key switch currently set to remote. And then the program mode indicator shows us how many of our processors are currently in program mode and not running. On the lower section of the report, we have a table that gives us some detailed information about the devices within our plant. So we group by site first. That's our Milwaukee plant indicator. Then we group by the systems within our plant. So we're looking at filler line control as the first group here. Then we're showing the individual devices within that group. So we give the identifier for the device, its network location, what type of device it is, when the last time was that we talked to this device, series and firmware. Okay, so based on the status of some of these devices within the filler line control, I have some minor faults here. I want to drill down into this particular system to get some more information about those devices. And that'll bring up my system report. Filler line system, and this overview tab on this report gives us a complete inventory of all the devices that are within this system. So here we're looking at the top events tab within our filler line system. This view really just shows us the most common events that have occurred within this system, grouping them by the occurrence count and severity. Here we're looking at our event analysis tab. This view gives us some context around the events that have occurred within the filler line system. So the first trend that we're showing here is the total and fault events over a period of time. And we can see our most current data is shown at the far right, so we can compare how we're doing today versus how we did in the past week or the past month. The middle trend is showing the event distribution over our 24-hour day. So if we have more events occurring in the middle of the day versus the end of the day, those can be identified on this trend. And finally, the third view at the bottom shows the total and fault events for each individual device within this system. So what I can see by looking at this trend of the events grouped by device is that I have some devices that have a larger number of events than the others within this system. So what I want to do is actually click on the events for this individual device to drill down to the details for that specific device. And this brings up our device history report. So now we're looking at a specific device within our filler line system. This device is identified here as an L61, so it's a controller. Here's its serial number. We're showing the last time that we talked to this device. And most importantly, we're showing the firmware and series of this device, as well as its current status. In the table beneath this information, we're showing a historical list of the events that have occurred on this device. We have events listed such as a key switch change, a minor fault has occurred, and these events are listed in the order that they occurred, with the most recent event at the top of the list. Then on the right side of this report, we're showing the asset utilization number for this specific device, along with its components, availability, quality, and rate. We're also showing the event timeline trend, as well as the event distribution over a common 24-hour day. So here's a quick overview of how the DR system functions. We have our DR chassis, which houses our controller and application code. This connects to our control network, and using explicit messages, we send unconnected messages to the smart connected devices in our control system to gather data from them. That data is then stored to a buffer within our controller. Once that buffer is full, or we've reached the end of our network, we will transfer that data up to our SQL database, where we then process that data and make it available to the VantagePoint system for reporting.